how we move from one place to another. We can then increase our ability to communicate at even greater levels because then the translation barrier, the so-called language barrier, no longer is viable. And we can then create a blossoming, a blooming of who and what we are at an incredibly short period of time.
What about the role of the more advanced human civilizations that are within the Earth?
Now, inner Earth people have, from the beginning, looked upon themselves as being guardians. And so ever since our fall happened, they have been working very diligently to allow, as the environment of the surface world has allowed them, to work towards moving us into becoming fully integrated, whether it's fully conscious beings. And so they have played a great, great period. A lot of the quote-unquote angels or prophets or people involved in moving us forward spiritually have been people from Inner Earth. People of Inner Earth desperately and also anxiously would like us, because those are words that really don't exist in their vocabulary, but I'll just put it there, want us to change. And they pretty well know when that's going to happen, and they are working very diligently for that to occur.
And then they will come to the surface, or we will visit them, or both?
Right, we'll visit them. They'll come to the surface more. They're actually among us right now all the time because they have the ability to transform themselves and looking just like us. So,
because I know there have been times in the past where adapting to the frequencies on the surface were very difficult for their physical bodies.
It was, but right now, because of the increased energies and the higher frequencies of planet Earth, it's a lot easier.
This is a thrilling canvas that you're painting that you're painting on this canvas here, and I'm really glad that you've had the opportunity to paint this picture for our listeners. And maybe as we move toward wrapping it up for this interview, maybe you could share about how the listeners can stay connected with you and this information, and also maybe you could speak to something that is a little delicate. I bet you there are a lot of listeners who are listening that are really secretly thrilled about this, but they're really afraid to share this audio recording with their friends and their family and their coworkers because they think that these people are going to think that they're insane, that they're nuts. And I don't say that as a judgment, but just as from my experience of the fears that human beings have. Maybe in closing you could speak to those fears about people speaking their truth.
Well, this is something that was interesting. I was talking to a lady who's working on getting me more, quote-unquote, out there among the public, and she gave one of my DVDs to a guy who was receptive but didn't really fully understand what I'm talking about. And so he listened to a couple of the DVDs that she had. And after doing that, he first went into a whole period of fear. And then he went beyond the fear, and he began to feel almost giddy about what was going on with his change. And then so he went from fear to understanding it, and then he reached this aha moment where he totally integrated what was happening, and he's a supporter now. He wants to help get me out in the East Coast. So this is a process that everybody will go through, and what you just have to do is have the courage to do it. You may be laughed at initially. You may be looked upon as being, quote-unquote, as you said, crazy for doing it. But one of the most important things to do is to have the courage to do it. And you will be amazed at what happens in the long run. In the short run, it may not be pleasant. It may make you feel uncomfortable. But in the long run, a lot of people are going to change, and they're going to understand what the information means and what it's about. And one of the most important things to do is to have the courage to do that. And as far as getting a hold of me, one of the most important things that you can do is go to my website, which is www.paoweb.com. And that way you can get a hold of me through my materials. And then if you want to order the materials, which are on the website, and you'll get a better idea of what I'm about. And then the other thing is that I have updates every week on the website, which give you an idea of what's happening.
Are they still coming out on Tuesday night?
They're still coming out on Tuesday night.
Okay. Well, Sheldan, is there anything you'd like to say in closing? This has been a delightful and powerful hour.
Sure. What I'd like to do real fast is just say that I'm going to be having a workshop in Los Angeles on the weekend of the 21st and 22nd of July, and that if people want to find out about it, they can go to the website, which I just talked about, which is www.paoweb.com. And another thing that they can do is to call a number to reserve a place, which is 650-619-0783. Or else they can email us at our website email address, which is info@paoweb.com. And to conclude, I just want to say, people, think positive, know the world is changing, and just be courageous enough to be a part of it, and just stay focused and positive about everything that's happening, and use your inner discernment to understand better what your place is in all of this, and how you can be active to create this change and be part of this conscious shift or revolution, this quiet revolution that is underway right now.
One thought that came through as you were closing is, do you have any thoughts for people who are afraid of, if I really step out and follow my truth here, that my loved ones aren't going to be able to follow me?
Well, just have the courage to do that, and have the patience and the nurturing to remain positive and for people, because a lot of people may be upset with you at the beginning, but as it moves forward, and as they get more, quote-unquote, educated by having more information and materials come across, they begin to become more positive. And so just stay totally positive and in your centered discernment about everything, and those things can be worked out.
Sheldan, thank you so much. Let me just let the listeners know how they can access this audio file, share it with other people. As all my Emerging Breakthroughs archives they're archived on my website at www.synergyinaction.com/radio. Also, my dear friends Regina and Scott Meredith at consciousmedianetwork.com also post these audio files. If you go to consciousmedianetwork.com and then click on radio and then click on my show, you'll see the archives there. And, of course, Sheldan, as all my guests are free to also use this audio file for their desires and their purposes as well.
Okay, thank you.
So, Sheldan, thank you so much, and God bless everyone, and we'll close with love and peace. Namaste.
And as they say in Syrian, Salamat.